Hi, I'm Alvin Mudhui and I would like to explain how I tested my code through unity testing. So I created the class for testing the code that I had written. In this case, I provided test data for various scenarios. I started with the OK data, which is a valid data. Provided valid data, so in a valid data we are not supposed to get an exception, so it should go through. So that test method does not accept any exception. So in case an exception is wrong, then something is wrong with the code. You have then another employee test data, which is okay. So as you can see, we are starting with employee 4 coming to 3 1 5 1 2. So this list is unordered. So again, we don't expect any exception. Testing the valid data again for thoroughly with the ordered list. So that is the values we are supposed to get. We don't accept any exception, so in case we get any exception, we are going to assert a fail because we can't agree with that. So testing again thoroughly with the unordered lists. So if you get any exception, just assert fail, so that test will fail. So null data is not valid, so we are going to send null into our class. So you have to accept an exception. If we get an exception, that is okay. The test is going to pass. You expect again an exception when you pass an empty string. As you can see over here, salary is invalid, so we expect an exception. If we don't get an exception, then that test is a fail. Here we are going to check for multiple managers on one employee. Employee 4 is managed by employee 2. Employee 4 again is managed by employee 1, so we expect an exception. If we don't get an exception, then that is a fail. So in this case, we don't expect to have more than one CEO, so we provided employee 1 as CEO and employee 2 as CEO. So we expect an exception. Circular reference through constructor. So we don't accept circular reference. So as you can see, employee 1 is managed by employee 2 and employee 2 is managed by employee 1. So this is unacceptable. So we expect an exception that this is a circular reference whereby you can have a circular reference with more than 2 elements, like for example, 3 is managed by 2, 2 is managed by 5, 5 is managed by 4, and 4 is managed by 3. So there is a circular reference over there. So you expect an exception. Then you have to make sure there is no manager is not an employee. So we provided a manager who is not an employee. In this case, employee 5 over here, which is a manager, does not exist as an employee, so we expect an exception. So sometimes like this one, which has employee 1, then empty space for manager, then 1 and another value over here, which cannot be accepted, so expect an exception. Then we are going to check our code to make sure it doesn't accept duplicates employees, so it have to throw an exception in case of duplicate employees. For example, employee 3 is managed by employee 1 and employee 3 again is managed by employee 2, so that is unacceptable. And that is the end of the test data, and we can run the tests. It's taking some time for compiling, then running the tests. So as you can see, all 14 tests have passed through. Let me run them again. Maybe I've run just one test, I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, there you go. It is a green light. So thank you for your time, and I really appreciate a lot. In case of any questions, please feel free to ask me. Thank you.